Hey everyone. Um, for today's podcast, I really just want to get back to the basics I should have gotten to before I uploaded the first one. Namely, introducing myself, kind of giving an overview of the channel, or my vision of the channel in the next couple months, what I want to accomplish, maybe some goals I'm going to set for myself here. Um, First things first, I'm Ratman. That's my It's my handle and my broadcasting name. That's what I'm gonna be using. So here on out, Ratman. Um, I'm a pretty typical white guy in his mid-20s living in the United States. Midwest South type person. I have somewhat, I guess you could say, standard interest. I like video games. Um, I like movies. I like books. Um, I'm a student. I'm interested in history, particularly somewhat modern history within the last, 150, 200 years. Um, so, not maybe a little different from a lot of people on YouTube or a lot of people doing podcasts who might have more of a STEM background or maybe come from a different part of the country. I don't know how much similar content's being made like this. Hopefully, there's nothing exactly like this. That would be kind of a strange coincidence, but it's not really important. So if you've seen my other two videos or if you listen to them, there's no visual elements to the videos as of right now. And there really isn't. There aren't plans to do that. It's a podcast. I mean, right now I sort of have like channel art or like I guess like album art or whatever. That's just for the background, and that doesn't really change video to video or upload to upload. As of right now, it's just going to be my logo. If you've listened to those, you've heard me talk about freedom of speech and censorship and supposed deplatforming and a lot of stuff surrounding Infowars, Alex Jones, sort of somewhat recent news, current events, political hot take sort of thing. So I just wanted to kind of lay a foundation for the upcoming shows I want to do. And I guess I want to apologize too. At the end of my last video, I said I was going to be uploading next week, and obviously that did not happen because by the time this uploaded, it'll be a little over 2 months, I think, since my last upload. And I'll talk about that in a minute about the circumstances that led to that not happening, and then kind of led me back to where I am now, where I'm making this recording. Oh yeah, like official podcast thing everyone does. It's November 2nd. It's Friday and it's nighttime. So if you wanted to know, which I assume that should probably be at the beginning of the video, so like like as soon as you click on like what if it's recent, but you can also check the upload date on YouTube. Under the video, it'll say when it was put on. That's not really the important thing. I'm just trying to have like some degree of like, not professionalism. So obviously I'm not a professional, but give the appearance of knowing what the hell I'm doing, which I don't, because even saying that, you're like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. He said he didn't know what he's doing, and I don't. So this is the amateur hour, no question, but that's okay. You got to start with your amateur hours, and eventually you can become an amateur who people tolerate because of Stockholm syndrome, or I made a video you liked 2 years ago and you're not willing to unsubscribe just yet. Okay, so like I said, the kind of videos I'm making are political analysis, current events, news, responses to that, and giving my thoughts and opinions on those sorts of things. Gaming content, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably talk about it to some extent because that's something I'm interested in as like in my personal life, but I don't know. This isn't really going to strictly be a political channel or a gaming channel or like a lifestyle channel. I'm sure I'm going to talk about my interests, and it's just going to be kind of thrown around and just see what people respond to. if there's a response more positively to something than something else, then I'll obviously lean into what is working, just to be pragmatic and to give people what they want. So I guess now I should talk about where I've been, why there have not been uploads. Right now I'm sitting at zero subscribers. It doesn't really matter right now because I really haven't got a consistent upload schedule and I haven't got a consistent sort of work ethic going on with this channel. And to just sort of skip over 2 months of nothing, I can just say that depression is a bitch, and going to college is very time consuming, and it's hard to be motivated to create when you are sad and when you are facing anxiety and when you are facing deadlines and responsibilities from other parts of your life. It's hard to commit time to a creative outlet. I mean, or even time to watch other YouTube videos, or to listen to podcasts, or to read books, or to play video games. You kind of can fall into a black hole, and if you're not careful, and if there aren't people who are willing to kind of point it out for you, you can kind of just stay there, and you can stay there for a really long time. I think now I'm in a better place than I was a couple months ago, and I definitely want to try and create more content, and consistently. And I think the more I do, and I'll actually get into a sort of a habit with it, and it won't be something that is out of the ordinary. Like, there will actually be consistent weekly or bi-weekly uploads depending on how it works out. So I'm gonna do my best, and if you have anything to say about that, you can leave it in a comment, positive, negative, whatever. Just if there's something that you want to add, go ahead and let me know. So right now I'm sitting here on my computer, turning on. I got some pop-ups. Apparently Blizzcon just happened. I'm not a huge Blizzard fan, but I have the battle.net installed on my desktop, and apparently they're giving away Destiny for free, a game I have not really played before. So I decided to download that, and that's downloading in the background while I'm recording this. I have basically no knowledge of the series, of the franchise, or even I think Bungie as a developer. I've never played one of the Halo games before. Never had an Xbox growing up, so it was sort of out of reach for me. But it wasn't something that I thought I was missing out on. I remember when I was a kid, I definitely wanted to play Fable on Xbox, and Morrowind, which was the third Elder Scrolls game, more than I wanted to play Halo or Halo 2 on the original Xbox. When I was that age, I owned a GameCube, and I do not regret that. That was, I think, especially when I was, because I was a lot younger then, I think that playing Wind Waker was better than playing Halo. I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of Halo. I'm not dissing, but a large part of my childhood is sitting in front of my old shitty fat TV and playing Wind Waker, the Super Smash Bros. Melee, and a couple of the games the original Animal Crossing was on. Well, actually, the original Animal Crossing was on the Nintendo 64 in Japan, but I think in America, the first Animal Crossing game was the GameCube one. I played that a shit ton when I was a kid. Haven't kept up with the series so much. I haven't played since the one on the original DS, the 2005 one, or whatever. Okay, what was Bungie. Yeah, so I'm not familiar with the developer. I know of the games they've made. Obviously, I knew of the first Destiny. But as of right now, I'm just a PC gamer. I don't own any of the current generation consoles. The last console I had was a PlayStation 3 that I got back in 2009 or something, and I've never upgraded past that. And I think the original Destiny either wasn't on PCs or it wasn't on Steam, and I never interacted with it. Actually, let me Google that. I'm not sure, and I feel like it's worth actually getting right if I'm gonna make some kind of definitive statement about it, because that's the kind of integrity I pretend to have when I'm speaking to an audience. That made me sound like I'm some kind of horrible liar. Okay, my internet is being slow because obviously I'm downloading this game in the background, and I live in a red state, and we don't have great internet here. That's not true every red state. I'm sure that there are red states that have great internet and other services. Okay, so yeah, okay, I finally got the Wikipedia page because, again, internet's super slow. Yeah, the original Destiny was not on PC. It was on the old consoles and the new consoles. Oh, I guess it was on PS3, but I haven't even used that thing since like 2013, 2012 maybe. So yeah, not familiar with the series. It's down in the background. I'll probably turn on tonight and just goof around in it and see what's going on. Between that and I plan on doing that, and I've also been on social media and stuff today. Instagram, and I've been looking at a lot of news stuff on like BBC, and it's another day of the Trump America. Not to get too in depth to my absence recently, but yeah, I think that you can only absorb the news, at least currently, without it sort of affecting your own health at least a little bit. I mean, I know I can't. Maybe some people can be more detached from it, and I think that's great. I definitely wish I could do that sometimes. But yeah, so well, in America we have the midterm elections coming up in, I want to say 4 days. Yeah, 4 days. Which I'm looking forward to because it will be over. Don't get me wrong, I vote. I'm gonna vote. I voted in every election I was eligible for since I turned 18. This election, though, obviously I understand that it's very important, and the results are going to be incredibly the shockwaves that we're going to create in the next couple days are going to be felt for maybe decades in the United States, depending on who gets control of what, and especially with the current White House administration we have, there's a lot on the line in this election, and I know that. And I'm really trying not to be cynical, and I'm really trying to hope that people in the United States will make better decisions than they've made in the past. Based on the way that this sentence is coming out, obviously I'm not a supporter of the president. It's pretty obvious. Not to start putting labels on all my ideologies, but I am definitely a leftist. Pretty, I would say at least where I'm at. I'm a pretty far outlier to the left. But then again, in the United States, everything is sort of to the left. If you're not, I feel like the ideology on the right is very fringe. Even if I don't know who it appeals to at this point, besides like a very small group of like businessmen and maybe evangelicals who are sort of like in the Mike Pence camp. But I'm like, I don't know how middle America or like the working class people support Trump, and I know they do, and it just baffles me because I'm like, what about that is appealing? What about these these tax cuts that didn't affect you, and what about the trade war is going to help you? I mean, really, in the long run, like the jobs you think are going to be created are not going to be, they're either not going to be permanent or they're not going to offset the massive job loss that the trade war is going to cause. And I don't know, and I understand that wanting to believe that the person in charge has your best interests in mind. I get that. I felt that way when Obama was in charge. I'm not a huge Obama fan. I voted for him, and I generally supported what he did, but I think he made a lot of mistakes. Obviously, I'm not a I guess I'm not like a true I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not a like I'm not a I'm not completely aligned with the American liberal agenda. Well, I consider myself to be a leftist, not a liberal, and definitely not like a Democrat. But that's just me. So I understand the appeal of having somebody in the White House or in the Senate who has your best interest in mind and is really looking out for you. This isn't happening for me obviously right now, but I don't think it's happening for anybody without maybe outside of like the Trump family and certain people who own oil companies or banks or really 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 hate LGBTQ people. I don't think people in the working poor communities are people who really turned out for Trump in 2016, people who really rocked the expectation of the election. I don't know what they think he's doing that's going to help them, but I'm certain it's not working because I don't think things are getting better materially for almost anybody right now. I mean, certainly, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you are an alt-right sort of white, not even a white supremacist, if you're some kind of like white identitarian or whatever, and you look at Trump deploying or moving troops around to the border, maybe that that like it's like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for definitive military intervention on the southern border. And maybe the last couple of days of news have been like, this is what I voted for, and this is what I've been waiting for, and this is what I wish Obama and Bush and Clinton had done in the past 20 25 years to really nail down the border. I think that's wrong. I think it's immoral. I don't think it'll actually work as far as reducing numbers of migrants coming here without trying to get citizenship or whatever, because I know that most people who are here legally overstayed visas, and they flew into an airport and they just didn't re-up their papers. They didn't actually like sneak over the border, but it's a very visceral and sort of appealing image of like, we're going to build a wall and we're going to have actual guards with guns and they're going to keep everybody from coming in, which if you want that to happen, which I don't want people to be obviously I don't want people to be hurt or threatened or feel like they're unwelcome here under threat of severe physical violence or violence of any kind, really. I don't find that appealing, but I certainly think that if you were the kind of person who if you were ecstatic when David Duke endorsed the president, you probably have been in a pretty good mood lately. And just for me, that kind of puts me in a shitty mood. When people like that are happy, I'm generally like, well, things are not going super duper well. But again, I'm really trying to remain, if not optimistic, then not cynical about the next couple days. But you never know. Tuesday night might be one of those nights where you break out the vodka and you just, you take a long, hard look at your state and at your country as a whole, and you think, God, Canada's only 6 hours away. Maybe it's time to just hop in the car and see what Trudeau's up to. I mean, hell, they just legalized pot there, so they got that going for that, which is it's nice. I've been to Canada. I like a good Timbit, little Tim Hortons every now and then. So I'm not. That's not out of the question, especially depending on how this fucking 14th Amendment shift goes. I mean, obviously, I don't think Trump has the authority to do that, but he'll try. I mean, he's not smart enough to know his own limits of power, I don't think. And I don't think anybody around him is going to be like, Mr. President, maybe you shouldn't be a huge dick right now. I think that's probably out of the fucking question. Um, so for now I'm hanging in. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna cast my vote on Tuesday, and I'm gonna, against my better judgment, I'm gonna try to be positive and send out my good vibrations to the universe. For all the good I think that'll do, but I guess you gotta just throw the dice, see what happens. I think now it's all you can do is just vote, come down, come back home, turn on the news, and just hunker down and try to live with the results. And just know that there are people out here on the left and people out here who will support you, even if you're a marginalized group, even if the midterm elections are really going to negatively impact your life, the kind of people who are going to get into power. There are people like myself and people who actually do have influence and power, unlike myself. Sitting here talking to myself in my bedroom. There are people outside of new media who actually have power, and sort of the resistance is what I hear people calling themselves, which I think is a little weird, because I've heard Hillary Clinton refer to herself as the resistance, which seems incongruous with her entire governor's wife of Arkansas, board of Walmart persona. But that's just me. Okay, I just had to pause the recording and get up for a minute, so if I'm not exactly where I was before as far as the mic goes, the audio will sound a little different from here on out, but I had to go take care of something in another room. So basically, where I'm at right now, I'm hoping for the best. I wouldn't say I'm expecting the worst, but I'm not expecting the best. I mean, I don't think that America is in a good place to make really good permanent decisions. It's like when someone is depressed or they're sick, and you go, okay, don't make any decisions right now that are going to affect you down the line, because you want to be in a clear headspace to do that. And now you have like half the country's like, these fucking migrants coming from Guatemala, they're gonna like take over the country. And it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't vote, maybe you should go home and lie down, take a nap, eat some soup, maybe see some kind of medical professional about your fear of the other. You definitely probably shouldn't be owning guns at this point, which I suspect a lot of people in that kind of ideological camp do. Again, probably a gross generalization. I mean, a lot of people own guns who aren't dicks. I get that. But I was just sort of making somewhere between a joke and a point. I was rolling a joke point, as they say. No one says that, and that's fucking stupid. And I should end the recording right there, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep going. Against my better judgment, and probably the judgment of anybody who's still listening at this point. They're like, oh God, what have I signed up for? And nothing. If you have not subscribed, you've signed up for nothing. So I want you to know you can pull the record at any time, and I respect your decision to do that. You're gonna miss out on some fun in the future, though. I think you're gonna miss out on some pretty good shit. Yeah. So if you are interested in this kind of upcoming project I'm embarking on, the Ratcast, definitely you could subscribe. You can leave a comment. Ask me. Well, actually, tell me what you want me to cover. Tell me if there's a news story, or if there's a personality. I would love to do a podcast on Ben Shapiro, because I think he's just like the slimiest little boy in media right now. He's just like this little goblin of hate and incorrect ideology. I would love to sort of throw some mud in his direction that he'll never hear about, because I am the smallest fish in the pond, and he's pretty established, pretty well up there. If there's a question you have about what I'm reading, or if you want to know what games I'm playing, and you want to know what I think of a certain game or whatever, that's fine. If you just want to, show some solidarity and say, fuck Trump, I suggest you write that below, and I will be happy to read it. All right, I'm going to sign off for tonight. This game is almost downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and start mastering this audio, put it in the YouTube uploading thing, and hopefully get it uploaded today or tomorrow. It depends on how slow this internet's being, because again, we're not all in, Google Fiber land or whatever is the hotness these days. All right. Thanks for listening this far, if you're still here, and I will speak to you again soon.